to bring it all together to end, I know we all have to go. What are your I have two questions for you guys, and you can string them however you want to. What are your takeaways from? It's still fresh. We've only been back what, like 2 days, 3 days, something like that. What are your takeaways at this point? Because I do believe that as you continue training and as we work on the stuff that we've done, you're going to get a lot more stuff. What are your takeaways at this point from training? The things that really stick out to you, things you're going to remember, training wise, life wise, whatever. And is there anything you wish you had known before you went, or that you would like to tell other people who, like, that you'd like people to know who are also thinking of going on this journey? It doesn't have to be good things. It can also be things you wish you knew, like in a bad sense also. This would have made life easier. Yeah. Whoever wants to go first.
I can go first. I'll talk about the key takeaway. This was something I was thinking on my flight home, and probably not training related. The compound input of GT, you, Neha, Zarir, and Jam Jam when he was around as well. For me, was
Jam is GT's son, for whoever doesn't know.
For me was that there will be infinite ways of solving one problem. The solutions that are accessible to me depend on my level of skill, knowledge, and practice. So there will be things that I feel like I know, or things that I've seen someone else do, and I feel that, okay, I can do this. But if I haven't practiced those things, I will probably not be able to do it, even if I feel like I fully understand.
Experience in there. Experience matters. You can bridge skill, conditioning, a lot of stuff with better experience. But yes.
Yeah. So that for me was the key takeaway. And it was not something that I got from just GT or you or one person. It was basically the combined input of everybody. There were a lot of conversations that we had over dinner, just Neha and Zarir and myself, just breaking down what we got from
went for dinner without me?
Oh yeah, multiple times. That's when we were all asleep.
So that processing, talking about the day and what did we learn, what didn't work. And even when we were training, GT would show us something or you would show us something, and then we would try that on each other. And I felt like I was doing exactly what you guys had shown or what you had told. But when GT would do it, I'd feel it would feel very different. It would feel like, no, my arm is freer and there's more space here, and this doesn't feel locked, and there's more space to move, and all of those.
You would do it.
When I would do it, I'd feel like, no, this is not what he showed us. Yes, the movements look exactly the same. Yes, we did follow the same sequence of events, but there's something missing here, and we don't know what it is. And GT would see my face processing it and realizing that no, this felt right, but there's something missing. He would just come, walk to us, and just show it again. Like it was creepy. It was as if he was reading my mind, and he'd be like, yeah, this is what is missing, and he'd just show it and it would make sense. So yeah, that was the key takeaway from everybody together. I think if there was even one factor missing, say if Neha or Zarir were not on the trip, or if I hadn't gone with you and I'd probably just gone with GT, this wouldn't have happened. All of this learning and all of this knowledge that I now have that I can work on by myself would not have happened. So yeah.
I'll tell you my key takeaway, and you're gonna laugh, Adi, is guys, when I started training with Adi, all I wanted to do, and he used to call it the shiny thing syndrome. Like I wanted to do the fanciest, most intricate, sort of ridiculous combination of whatever I could do. And I've written about this since I've come back. My biggest takeaway from this is I cannot place enough importance on my basics, because if you really look at what we did this trip, what GT, who could have showed us anything, I don't think it was about anything. Even when he was working with Adi, whatever, it was a lot of basics. Obviously, the interpretation of them and his understanding of the efficacy of them, and how to use them in the most intuitive or efficient way, all of that, right? But it was basics. We were doing stashes, and we were doing thrusts, and we were doing circles, and we were doing, and we, and the cleaner you are, and the more you've done them, and the more sort of it's built into your body. And Adi told me this from day one. Adi used to say just 10 minutes on your angle 1, angle 2, and basic footwork, and I'd be like, whatever. And he'd be like, for 3 years, and I was like, you're a dumb. And and today, looking at how GT moves, looking at the choices GT makes with his strikes, looking at the choices he makes, even when he's just flowing, all the stuff that we got when he just was doing our little photo shoots and he was just moving. It's these beautiful, little, tight, compact, basic moves. That was I cannot tell you how many times I've gone through, how many times I've watched all these things and I've been like, man, it's revolutionary for someone like me. That for me was a huge takeaway.
I mean,
if I can add to that, like if we were to summarize all of our training and say, okay, we're going to do drills, we're going to convert all of this into drills, it's basically just 3 drills. Like
it's 4 drills and I gave them to you already.
4 drills.
But again, I just remembered this. One of the reasons I wanted you guys to, because sort of the way, you guys are more and more exposed to more and more teachers in the Filipino martial arts, in Pekiti. You have more and more people reaching out to you, saying this way or that way or something or the other.
Speaking to any one of us in particular, or just to all of us?
To all of you.
All right.
The more that but now you've met GT. You've seen the way that he moves, the way that he does things, right? And this is because one thing that's going to happen, and I'm going to be very candidly honest about this, GT is not going to be around forever. I know we love to skirt around this in the Pekiti world, but it's true. And when he's gone, one of the major things that are going to happen is that people are going to start saying, this is authentic, this is real, this is not real, this is not authentic, right? Just to be like, this is the real thing. We have the real thing, they don't. This is going to be a big thing that's going to happen. And it's really easy for people to fall for these things because they don't know any better, because they haven't experienced GT, but you have seen everything that he's done. And I just wanted to say, like, Zarir was there when I had this conversation with him about the material that we did. What you guys did actually is literally the tip. It's if there was a hierarchy of basics to advanced, which this proves there isn't, but if there was, you guys did the most advanced stuff in Pekiti. You did part of a system that most of us had only heard stories about from him and never thought that we thought it would be, the story was only ever be saved for the family, right? I've done a little bit of it beforehand. By the way, before anybody freaks out, there's not a ghost in the back opening and closing my door. There's someone coming in and out of my room, so don't freak out. You can't see them behind me before this goes on Ghostbusters or something. So you guys did literally like something that I've done a little bit of before, and you're right, it was just basics. It was just basics done in the most efficient way possible. And wherever we go from here or whatever happens, just remember this, something that nobody else can take away from you. That whenever, and people will give you reasons why your experience also isn't valid. He's old, he's this, he's that, he's this, but you experienced him, you saw him move, you saw him do whatever, and that's something that nobody can take away. And this is where your critical thinking has to come in. So even when I say things to you, even then you have a reference point. Oh, but this is what I saw with GT. And it might not always be a correct inference, which is why conversation is important. You need to be able to say back to your teacher, ask this question back to your teacher, but you have that reference point of GT, and no one's ever going to top that. There might be different evolutions of it, there might be different iterations of it, different interpretations of it, but GT will be GT. Zarir, what about you? Like, what are your takeaways and
Yeah,
struggles?
so I've gone last now, so I think uh, it's gonna be more on. I kind of agree with what what these guys have said before me, but I just want to build on this. Like, I think one of the key takeaways, and this might seem a bit off topic, but like if you're like when I was a kid, I'd watch a lot of martial arts movies. I didn't have any skill. I just was interested, and lots of Jackie Chan stuff, Bruce Lee stuff, and a lot of other kind of movies. And as kids, you goof around, you try and like literally mimic or copy the moves that you see, and you think that like if I just keep doing this, maybe I'll get like good at it or something like that. And obviously that's not the case, because that it never works like that. The key takeaway for me was that this building on this thing about basics, right? Even just doing something, repeating it like 1,000 times isn't going to get you good. Like what I heard, and I've heard you say it, Aditya, I heard GT say it to me a couple of times, is the intent, okay? Is the purpose behind it. Like if you don't know that, if you're just like, if I watched GT in a room and just try to copy what he did, I wouldn't like, anyway, that wouldn't work, because I'm never going to be able to copy what he's doing. And if I just mimic his movements, it's not going to work either. That basic understanding of why he's doing what he's doing, why any one of us is doing what we're doing uh, now, and it kind of sounds counterintuitive because you're not supposed to think about these things when you're actually working on it in class or whatever. But beforehand or after, like after the fact, like I definitely I'm going to think about this. Why did I do what I did? Or is, what is the intent behind this particular thing? Why this angle versus, that angle? If I start doing that more now, I think that's going to like just be hugely beneficial to me. Because of course you have your online classes, and I have the privilege of being in your actual class, so it's very cool for me. But like there's YouTube is full of like stuff, right? I can just watch, I can watch stuff and say that I learned this, but if I'm not examining myself, like, and looking at the intent, the purpose behind everything, like the way my footwork is, the way my angles are, then it's useless, it's meaningless. And where some of us are doing it for, like, some of us are doing these things for various reasons, whatever, health, fitness, just we're obsessed with martial arts, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, like Kali, it's not a sport, it's a combat art. And I hope the day never comes, but if push comes to shove, like if I need to handle myself or protect my family or my loved ones, like I'll be able to do something about it. And it's very early for me in my journey, but like I'm hoping that, like, I know that if I continue with this, it's not going to be one of those things where you just learn something online
Yeah.
and you think that you can do it when a situation arises. So yeah, rant over.